Welcome to NeverTheLess podcast with Bidemi Mark-Mordi, a show dedicated to organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Today, you would learn how to discover your essence and live more powerfully.
I'm happy to be on another beautiful episode of the NeverTheLess show, a show created and designed for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. We're looking at the subject of pride, and this is episode 3. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my joy to introduce our teacher for today's episode, BMM. Thank you for being on the show.
Hi, Dr. Shugu. We're making progress.
Yes.
And this subject has been very interesting.
Very interesting. I've not recovered from last week.
That was really
Thank
good.
you.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
very
yes.
much. Please say hello to our guests,
Hi.
our viewers.
Thank you for joining us today on the NeverTheLess show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. The subject matter has been pride, and we're looking at it. I know we cannot exhaustively treat pride, but at least we're looking at it and highlighting the things that we all must pay attention to when it comes to pride. Dr. Shugu, where do you think we should go this week?
Well, I've been pondering and I looked at my life. I looked at what we've talked about, that pride is subtle. We don't even know when we're crossing. So I want to find out that how do I recognize pride in my life?
Okay, so just to make this easy, I'd like to call this the many faces of pride. Now, just like you said, because the line is very thin, the odds are that you'll be acting and you think I'm just acting in self-assurance, I'm acting in self-confidence, and actually it has become pride. And I'll start by telling you a story. A long time ago, as I started this journey in ministry, one of my big things is, Lord, don't ever make me have to ask people to give me money. I don't want to have to ask people for anything. And, it became something that became a mini God in my life. I did not recognize it. That even when people will walk up to me and say, what can we do? I'll be like, I don't need anything.
Wow.
One day, I was asking God for something we needed for the ministry. And God said to me, but you are proud. And I'm like, no, I'm not proud. He said, you're proud. I said, no, now I know they're proud. He said, you're proud. I said, how is that? He said, because you think that when you ask someone a favor, it is pride. Because I became that person who took joy in giving to people and in doing for people and not exactly determining, if I was in that season of my life, I wouldn't ask you to do this with me. I can do whatever you ask me to do with you, but I did not curry favors because I didn't want to be beholden to people. So God said to me, you're an arrogant person and you just don't know it. And that's one reason why I know that it is possible to cross the line of pride and not knowing that you have crossed the line of pride. So there are 4 main ways that I take a look at my life and to see for myself if there's pride in my life. Because it's not that we will not cross this line, it's that when we cross the lines, we should be quickly.
Am I aware or can I retrace?
We should be aware and then retrace and retract that, yes, so that we don't find ourselves far gone into the place of destruction. So the first one is self-centeredness. Self-centeredness is about our wants. I don't know if you have experienced this when you are in a conversation with someone, telling them maybe how your day went, how things didn't go your way, and it's a conversation we're having, and all they do is they keep interjecting and they keep interjecting and they keep interjecting to tell you how worse their own story is. I had a relationship, a time in my past where when we'll come together and we'll be talking, it was either, she flew first class last week. And those of us that have never flown the tail of the plane, if we didn't have a bit of an assurance that we're on a journey and God will take us there, you can begin to think suicide. Everything always had to come back to her. It had to point to her. So if we're talking about facilitations, she'll tell you all the massive places she's gone to facilitate.
If you're
talking about children excelling, it will be about her children. At some point on that journey, I got tired. because I tend to get tired pretty quickly. I got tired and I'm like, no, this is not the journey I want to be on. Self-centeredness, when it's about, the way you know, and I get all I can all I get, I sit on the can. So nobody else matters. And
can you say that again?
I get all I can all I get, I sit on the can, because no one else matters. Half of the world woes are born out of that mindset. Is what I want, is what I want, is what I want. Self-centeredness, yes, is about wants. Is about wants. Whatever it is that you want, it's about want. Whether you want people to think that you have arrived, whether you want more for yourself. So self-centeredness is one face of pride that many people do not think about. And, if I had to give you an example in the Bible, I give you the man Gehazi. Gehazi was the servant of Elisha, who was there and saw Elisha send Naaman, the Syrian commander, to go and wash in the Jordan, and was healed of leprosy. Naaman came back with gifts for Elisha, and Elisha said, no, we cannot take a gift from you, lest tomorrow you say you made us. And Elisha said to him, no, you have received your healing, it's fine, go, it's free of charge, God doesn't sell this. And he left. But there was Gehazi thinking, what will happen to me tomorrow? What if my wife needed money? What if my children if I needed to pay school fees? What if my house rent is due? What if my boss, the prophet, dies?
What if he doesn't give me?
What if he dies and now I'm alone and I'm not a prophet? Because I'm sure he already knew he didn't have prophet material on the inside of him. The Bible said Gehazi pursued Naaman. And why, and he got there, is self-centeredness, and he had to lie, because once pride, begins to manifest,
yes, it's not
he lied.
Loner.
Exactly.
Other vices.
You just begin to see, because it's like, a friend of mine said that there are certain believers, when you put them and water together, the wrong color. A prideful man with wrong color. Especially when he's manifesting as self-centeredness. So when he ran and he caught up with Naaman, he said to Naaman, we've just received visitors, and my boss said I should come to you and collect. Elisha did not send him. So he took the gifts. The Bible said he buried it under a tree and he went back home. And when he got there, his master said to him, what have you done? Where are you coming from? And what have you done?
Lied again.
Of course, he would lie, because that's what happens. You must continue to cover your tracks. And guess what? In the end, the leprosy that Naaman was delivered from was called upon him. Self-centeredness, when we just want things for ourselves. You get into the room and there are 5 colors of the same thing, and you want all 5 colors for yourself. But the reality is there are 4 other people in the room. You want the orange, you want the green, you want the yellow, you want the blue, you want the red. And when someone says, pick one, you're like, oh, I want all of them. When you want it at all costs, you will do whatever it takes at all costs. Now, how is this pride? It is pride because Gehazi had probably lived life at a level, and he didn't want that life to drop.
And was aspiring for more.
Yes, he was aspiring for more. I mean, who doesn't want to hobnob with a Naaman? That's where you see name dropping. Oh, you're talking about, I was just at lunch with the MD of MTN. Who cares? It is the reason why if we sneeze, we put it on social media these days, because we want other people to think that we are happening. And all of that is because we have needs. So that if I say tomorrow that I'm selling this thing, you say, if he's around this person and around that person, then perhaps, or she's around this person and around that person, then perhaps she's good at her craft. Like you said earlier on, results should speak for themselves. The sad part about Gehazi is that Elisha was a servant to Elijah too.
Yes.
And because of the way Elisha conducted himself, at the end of Elijah's journey, Elisha received on himself a double portion of the grace that was upon Elijah. And someone said that it was possible that Gehazi could have received a double portion of what Elisha had, which would have been 4 times what Elijah had. Now, we can't prove it. We know we can say, oh no, it wouldn't have happened. But who's to say it wouldn't have happened? Self-centeredness is a phase of pride that we need to deal with. That's why as parents, or when our parents were raising us and when we are raising our children, we always say share and share alike. You can't take it all. Make sure someone else, make room for
others. And it takes humility to
do that.
Because this world, this life is bigger than you. It's not about you alone.
Exactly.
So everybody can dance around
That's
you.
just it. And sometimes because it especially takes humility, because some of these people don't even deserve it. That's the truth. But it is your allowing them room gives them a leg up. And then the moment they get pulled up, they open up, because not everyone can walk at the pace that most of us walk.
I agree.
Do you understand that? The second phase of pride that I'd like to highlight is self-conceitness.
Would you want to explain what self-conceitness
is?
is?
It has to do with ability. When someone is so invested and so sure of themselves that they think that they are error-proof. They cannot make mistakes. Everything is like, no, I got it. I got you. And then you got nothing.
You got
nothing. Self-conceitedness, where, and then the thing about, again, self-conceitedness is it will manifest this desire to be dishonest. Because you say to yourself, I've got it. Oh, did you prepare? Oh, I read it all. Sugar coating becomes yes.
Exaggerate. So that's
borrow me another word. Do you see it? Self-conceitedness, where, it's about my ability. I'm the only one who deserves it. I'm the one who knows it. I'm this one and that one and that one. And on top of that, I will deal with everybody who doesn't measure up. Oof. And if I have to give you a Bible,
Bible character,
I'll give you Haman.
Yes.
Haman took a look at Mordecai and said, I must kill this man. And if I will kill him, I will kill every other Jew
felt
with
superior.
him. What was it about him? He put together a gallows. He went to the king.
He scripted it very well.
He went to the king. Everything. Why?
Sorry for cutting you.
It's fine.
I was just remembering the story of the illustration again. When Queen Esther said, okay, there is a banquet. And they said, come. He went down. Who else?
Will the Lord want to honor? Can you see self-conceit? Say, who else will they want to honor if I'm not the one? I'm the only one that deserves to be honored in all of Babylon. And he went there. He probably would have gone shopping for new clothes that day.
Definitely.
His perfume would have been different that day, because as far as he was concerned, they were coming to honor him.
Which is an offshoot or another face of pride.
Yes.
Because I remembered when the king was like, oh, so what do you feel we should do
for the one that the king is pleased with? He said, give him your ring. Because like Lucifer, he was eyeing the throne. Give him your signet ring. Give him your staff of office.
Your robe.
Put your robe upon him. Put him on your horse. Effectively, he wanted to become a king without being the king. Self-conceitedness is the face of pride that we need to be careful about. Whether as a leader or as a follower, it is important that we get this.
I think before we take the next two, we should go on a break. So we looked at the first one. First one is self-centeredness. The second phase of pride we looked at is
self-conceit. Conceitedness. Yes.
Self-conceitedness.
Yes. Your centeredness has to do with the things you want. Your conceitedness has to do with your ability. What you think that you can do.
Overestimation of your ability and capability.
What you think that you can do. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go on a quick break shortly. We will be right back. Don't forget, this is the NeverTheLess show.
Yes. We'll see you in a bit. God bless you.
In a world filled with many fears and discouragement, life often becomes a burden. For those who know the way, life is just simple. Do not worry, you're not alone on this life's journey, as Bidemi Mark-Mordi shares powerful insights and principles from her everyday work and life experiences in her book, NeverTheLess. NeverTheLess is a book designed to encourage and equip you to face life with courage, hope, and determination. Get a copy of NeverTheLess and other books written by Bidemi Mark-Mordi, like The Wisdom of the Seed, Honor, The Theology of Work, and so much more from a bookstore nearby, or call 080-905-63555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order. I guarantee you will make it, nevertheless.
Welcome back to NeverTheLess Show. Today we are looking at the 4 phases of pride.
Yeah.
So we've looked at number 1, number 2. So can we go straight into number 3?
Okay, so before we go into number 3, let me just remind our viewers again, what the first 2 are: self-centeredness, that has to do with the things we want out of life and out of our situations, and self-conceitedness, that has to do with what we think about our ability and estimation of who we are. The third phase of pride is boastfulness. Boastfulness means it has to do with how we want others to perceive and to see us. So when we show up, they don't ask you any question, you begin to run your mouth.
I've done this, I've done that.
I was in Ghana last week, then I went to Chicago, then I went. Who wants to know? We're both stiff, actually. Because the people you're in the room and you're telling them where you have been, they've been any and everywhere and nobody knew about it. Do you understand it? You check into Chicken Republic far to eat 900 naira rice and egg. You checked into Chicken Republic on your status. What is that? You go to Buka, you put it there. Oh, God have mercy the day you go to Sheraton. Even if they sent you to go and deliver an envelope, once you get into Sheraton, say, checked into Sheraton. Kilo day. What is the problem? It's boastfulness. This thing that tells us that if we are who we are, people will not respect us. If we are just who we are, people will not esteem us. Meanwhile, the truth about respect and esteem is that people respect us and they esteem us because of the God that is on the inside of us. Not so much about, who we say we are. Because think about it carefully. In how many words can I tell you who I am?
Yeah.
So sometimes boastfulness is a phase of pride. Of course, we know that it's a phase of pride. If I had to give you a Bible character, I'll use Goliath. If someone had just prophesied to Goliath that he was at the tail end of his life, perhaps he would have done better. Because he came to David. He did not even allow David to speak. He said, do you think I'm a dog that you come at me with stones and a sling? If he had done his research, he would have found out that David was an archer. That David was trained in using bows and arrows and slings. He was not as ordinary. He's not a little boy playing with a catapult. But pride will not allow Goliath to listen. David would, he said to me, come to me. The moment he started to walk towards David and David started to retrace his steps, if he was as skilled or as schooled in military strategy, he would have noticed that something was wrong with David's posture. But he didn't notice. Why? Because he was so full of himself. I mean, how would you describe a man who comes up every day for 40 days and challenges an entire nation and say, look, we don't even need to fight this fight. Just send me one person. Why is it? Boastful people think that God loves only them. Boastful people think that the sun shines only in their part of town. Boastful people think that they are the only ones that went to university. Boastful people. Even in walking with God, they think they are the only ones that know God. And what did we say? Pride goes before a fall. So his boastful is jumping up and down. It reminds me, and forgive me if you are not a Yoruba person, I'll try and interpret, or maybe Dr. Shogo will interpret for us. There was a song that Ebenezer Obey did long time ago, and he said, "Waniko Boshan Milo Joseo Shefari." What was the reason? They were praying for the monkey. And they said, "Say amen." And he refused to say amen because in his mind, what are you praying? You are praying that God will hold my hand and I'll be able to move from one place to the other. The monkey was thinking, I can swing from tree to tree. What are we talking about? I don't need that prayer. That's a boastful man. No matter what you say, he is so full of how he wants others to see him that humility will not allow him to say amen to a candid prayer. So Goliath, if he had just done it didn't.
If he had done his research.
Think about it now. Malcolm Gladwell, that wrote the book
David and
Goliath, did not live in that era. Yet he did his research and he found out that David was trained as an archer. Can you see it? And yet the man who was going to battle against him, who everybody said was the best warrior in town, did not know anything. Who goes to war against the enemy without studying his enemy?
If not for pride. Like they are too small.
Yes.
It's going to be a cheap meal.
Yes.
You know how many battles are fought? They will do anything for accolades.
Do you know that as big as the elephant is, the elephant can be taken down by a bill? A bee,
oh yes.
If it just goes into a straw, the elephant is dead. Because all it does is that thing in a strong makes it begin to agitated. And the thing about elephants is they fall, they can't get up by themselves. If you ask me, the bigger you are, the more careful you have to be of boastfulness.
The bigger you are, the more careful you have to
because
be of boastfulness.
Because what Goliath was seeing and saying, "By my size I will crush you," was the same thing that David was looking like, and he said, "You are big enough. If there's no way I will miss
target." Yeah,
you are a big target. It is not possible that I will miss, but I prefer that I hit your forehead," and that was exactly where he hit. Boastfulness is a face of pride that many of us do not understand. It is a face of pride. Right. The fourth face of pride is arrogance.
Arrogance.
And this is when our posture puts every other person down. Nobody matters. We don't listen to counsel. At this stage, we're unteachable. Arrogance, we put everybody down. It's oppressive. Why boastfulness is about how you want people to perceive and see you. Arrogance is about putting others down. They say, who is in that room? Says Dr. Shogo. Say, "Doctor who? Is he a doctor really?"
Yeah.
Before they tell you, he actually went to 7 years of medical school. Do you know I have 45 honorary degree? Arrogance. Meanwhile, do you know that honorary degrees, really, people who receive honorary degrees should not be called doctors? The ethic is an honorary degree does not make you a doctor because you did not study for it. You paid 300,000 for it.
Yeah. That's what it is.
But both arrogance. You. The sad part about arrogance is it's because it makes a man unteachable. It's risky because a man leaves his gates open in arrogance. If everybody is running and shutting their doors, the arrogant man will be like, "If they come here, I will shoot them. There's nothing." Shut your door. You say, "Why do I need to shut my door?" Have you ever seen in traffic where two passengers will come out of the bus and they will begin to quarrel? And then the big one will be making mouth until the tiny one will just carry him from his leg. Arrogance. Because you looked at him
and you're wondering, you were making mouth.
Not just before. Now.
Look at you on the floor now.
Not recognizing that the person you were shouting and you were shoving and he looked like he was running is because he has a black belt in judo or karate. That's why he was moving back, because the ethics of that trade says that you should not fight someone who is not at the same level as you. So he has a black belt. You are pushing him, you're cursing him, you're pouring him water. He's moving away, not because he's afraid of you, but because he knows he has the capacity to decimate you. And it will not be a fair battle or a fair fight. But you push him until he does one swipe. And then your entire village has to come and take you and sweep you off the floor because you are in pieces. Arrogance. A Bible character for me for arrogance is Samson. Samson had a template for his life. His template was no strong drink, and don't allow a razor to touch your head. Don't marry from the tribe that God said not to marry from. Not Samson. Everything that is said he should not. He broke all those rules. He was a Nazarene from birth, which meant that when his mother was pregnant for him, his mother could not drink strong drink. His mother could not touch the carcass of an animal. His mother probably couldn't cut her hair if she wanted to, because she was carrying a child that God had designated as a Nazarene from womb. He came out. His parents must have told him everything. Yet, what did he do? He broke it all. Arrogance makes you think you're untouchable because he took the jaw of an animal.
I need you to say that again. Arrogance makes you feel
you are untouchable.
And it's only God that is untouchable.
Because he could kill whether 800 men or so, 1,000 men with the jaw of an ass. He thought that, what?
What could be more?
What, what?
I'm here. Do you know who I am?
And he took one woman with Brazilian hair and he was done. Arrogance, a face of pride. Arrogance, to be very arrogance is a face of pride, and we need to be careful. And how does arrogance start? Arrogance starts because you genuinely are good. You genuinely are the best child in class. So after a while, you say, I don't need to read. And in the last 4 exams, let me take first.
Then I think compliments can breed arrogance.
Yes.
So
what's wrong with complimenting a person if they're doing well? Nothing.
Don't let it get into your head.
Well,
so the moment it gets into your head,
yes, which is why, whether for self-centeredness, whether for conceit, whether for boastfulness, whether for arrogance, every leader, let's even talk to leaders now, every leader needs a circle of truth around him.
Circle of truth.
People who will tell him the truth. Man, the way you treated your driver this morning, not kosher. Don't do it again. The way you were yelling in your office, that's not the way people do. We must learn. There's not one of us who came out perfect, but part of this journey is to get better. And so whether it is that you are self-centered or you're conceited or you are boastful or you are arrogant, if you have the right kind of people around you, what would happen? They will be able to help you. Because our feet must remain in the ground.
Wow. We've looked at the 4 faces of pride. I look in my head. I tagged it 4 dimensions of pride, because these are if you turn it this way, you see self-centeredness. You turn it to the other way, you look at it, you see self-conceitedness. Then you see boastfulness, and you see arrogance.
Yes.
So as individuals, as believers, it's very important that we look at our lives. And he said, examine yourself, judge yourself, so you will not be judged.
Yes.
As you were talking, I was just looking at myself. In what ways have I exhibited self-centeredness?
Yes.
In what way do I exhibit self-conceitedness? In what areas do I need to minimize the way I boast?
Yes.
In what ways do I need to play down arrogance? Or in what ways have arrogance exhibited or expressed itself in my life? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a call to action. I want us to take a self-reflection after this episode. Thank you very much for doing justice to it once again. BMM, thank you. This is very insightful. Please drop comments on the YouTube channel. Let's have your feedback. Once again, thank you for joining us on this particular episode of NeverTheLess Show. You can follow BMM on all social media platforms. She's on Instagram at BMM. She's on Twitter, Facebook at BMM. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're looking forward to seeing you same time next week. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Nevertheless. For more information and resources, call 080-90563-555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimark.com. Don't forget, discovering your purpose helps you live more powerfully.